I'm Amanda, and we are so excited because we are talking about a topic that's very close to most of us hearts. Most of us go through this even before we know we're going through this, and that's vaccinations. But obviously, as we've done some research, as time has gone by, so many things have come up of, are vaccines safe? People have been saying they result in autism and all of these different things. So we want to know, what's the deal with vaccines? Okay, so we will obviously be having an expert in today to join us. It will be Prof. Keolebogile Shirley Motaung. She'll be joining us today. She's literally one of those women I truly look up to, and I'm so excited about interviewing her today. So I'm going to obviously give you a little bit of her history credentials so you know that she's an expert. All right. So Prof. Shirley Motaung is actually a biomedical scientist. Hello. Hi. All right. So she's a biomedical scientist, and she's also an assistant dean in charge of postgraduate studies, innovation, research, and engagement at the Faculty of Science at TUT. And she's also on the Gauteng Premier's COVID-19 Advisory Committee. And yes, she wears a lot of hats, right? And she is also the CEO and founder of Global Health Biotech. So without further ado, we're going to ask her to join this conversation. Prof,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good on you.
I'm good. So probably going to get into this, but we just need to know a little bit more about you. Okay.
Mhm.
So biomedical science. You're a biomedical scientist, biomedical science. Why and how did you get into this?
Okay. Do you mean if you want to study it, or why did I get into it? I just want to understand, Amanda. Are you
I
referring
want to
to me,
know why. Yeah.
or are you referring to should somebody want to study biomedical scientist? What is that all about?
Not
I
necessarily,
want to
just
make
want
it
to know
very clear.
why you decided to be a biomedical scientist. What sparked your
Okay.
passion to go in that
What,
direction?
what, what? Good question. What has sparked me to go into this direction is because, number one, I'm very an inquisitive person. I've always been like that. I don't take anything on the face value. And I wanted to always ask questions, why this and why this and why this? And I'm glad that I went into a biomedical scientist because you constantly doing research, you constantly trying to find the new technology or the new ideas that are out there, which one can start finding out compared to if you didn't do that. And on the other hand, also there's nothing wrong to be one of the best or the first to come with something that other people wouldn't have known about it. So I enjoy research, and that's one of the reasons why I've actually enjoyed to be on the biomedical scientist.
Okay, so Prof, I saw that you are on the Gauteng Premier's COVID-19 Advisory Committee. So do you
Yes.
want to maybe tell us what your role is in that committee?
Okay, I'm just going to be giving you a little bit of what my role is on that committee. My role is on that committee. I'm more involved on the research that is that the Gauteng province is doing in terms of the COVID. I'm in charge of the research that the Gauteng province is doing in terms of the research. So should anyone want to do research applying via the Gauteng province, they always send the person to us, to our committee, so that we evaluate that protocol or we evaluate that proposal that the person wants to do, so that we can either give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. But I'm always involved in the research part of that, and also in terms of the laboratory testing, because my background as a biomedical scientist, we actually involved in lab testing of samples.
Oh, okay. So would you be one of those people who give advice on whether, based on whether the cases are rising or going down, and you might maybe give the suggestion of open up, no, don't open?
I'm not more on whether the cases are going up or down. I'm more on if somebody wants to test something and see if there's something will work for COVID, I'm more on that. That's what I'm saying. I'm more on the research part, that I'll have to make sure to validate, to do research, to make sure whatever the claims that somebody is saying, is it the true claims or not. That's where the research component of mine is playing a pivotal role.
Okay, so you're saying when somebody has a claim, is this anybody who has a claim? So any random person who's like, I heard that if I drink oranges or whatever, it can help. Those type of people, or must it be actually people with medical credentials?
No. Claim, it means you say to me, I've got a product, I have manufactured this product, and this product, it can cure COVID-19. Those are the ones that I'm referring to. Eating orange is fine. You're just protecting your antibody. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good to eat. It's vitamin C. But if you've got a product or coming with something that said, this thing that I've got, this concoction or this cocktail mix that I've got can actually cure COVID, that's where I'll come in as a scientist, as a researcher, to make sure, to validate that and to make sure what you are saying is right.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Just need to make sure of that. And you are a CEO and founder of Global Health Biotech.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
What Global Health Biotech does, it's actually come from my research background, where I translated my own research background from PhD to commercialization. And reason for that is, one, to show other students or other scientists or whoever is involved in research that nothing stops you to turn your research idea into innovation that can be commercialized. And this is what we have to start, training our postgraduate students in a manner that whenever they do research, they must look at the back of their mind that these things that I'm doing, I must be able to turn it into commercialization so that you'll be able to make money. Nothing's, is so sad to do research, and at the end of the day, you publish paper, at the end of the day, you cannot make money out of it. And on the other hand, I wanted to also to show other researchers that when you train your students in the manner that they can be an entrepreneur.
Prof, let's get into our topic for today. So we are talking vaccines. That's why we brought you on, to have a conversation about vaccines. Obviously now, because of COVID-19, everybody knows that different universities and different research institutions are busy trying to find a vaccine for COVID-19. They have given us different timelines. In America, some of them are saying 8 months. Some of them are saying 2 years. This is all of these things. It's just a lot. So we want to know, firstly, what is a vaccine exactly, and what is it supposed to do?
Okay. A vaccine, or sometimes they also call it immunization, or a vaccine, it actually helps to protect you from getting an infectious disease. That's what we call it, a vaccine. And then when you get vaccinated, you help to protect others and yourself. And vaccines are very safe, and it's much safer to get a vaccine than an infectious disease. So it's something that is actually going to protect you so that you must not get infectious disease. Hence, they always talk about vaccine, go and vaccinate, go and vaccinate. That is also going to help from getting any infectious disease. That is what I can call what is a vaccine.
Okay, but my argument here, Prof, is that I have a great-grandmother. She's almost 100 years old, if she's not older. I'm pretty sure she's never been vaccinated, and she's pretty healthy and fine and doing well. So why are vaccines so important when I have my grandmother or my great-grandmother here who's never been vaccinated and they're just fine? Can't I just rely on my natural immunity and, the herd immunity?
I don't believe that your grandmother has never been vaccinated. Every one of us has been vaccinated. TB, if you remember, we all have to be vaccinated for polio. We all have to be vaccinated for measles. I can bet there's no one who can say he has not been vaccinated. Your grandmom might not be telling you the truth. I'm sorry. Your grandmom has been vaccinated when she was a child. I can tell you, most childhood are vaccinated at 90 to 99%. Majority of them, they're getting vaccine to prevent disease. And if vaccinated child does not get the disease, the symptoms are usually less serious than in the child who has not been vaccinated. I can tell you, you can always say, oh my God, I've not been vaccinated. I've never, everybody has been vaccinated. That's what I'm saying. And if you can still remember, I don't know with you guys, I remember in my time when you have to go to school, they used to want that card to show that you've been vaccinated either for measles or for polio. Those were the major ones. And they will also tell you after 2 months or after 3 months when the baby is born, after a month or so, the baby must go and get a certain vaccination, after 3 months, after 6 months, after 9, 7 years, before even going to school. So, Amanda, your grandmom has been vaccinated. If I have to test the antibody for your grandmom, I'm definitely going to see that she was vaccinated. So I always said, let's rather tell the truth that vaccine is crucial and vaccine is very, very important.
But what about, yes, I'm here. I'm here. But what about the claims that vaccines cause autism or they have really serious side effects? Because there is a whole movement that's anti-vaccine. There are parents who refuse to vaccinate their kids because they're scared that they'll become autistic and all of this. So what do you have to say about that?
I'm going to talk like a scientist. I'm not going to talk about somebody with a hearsay, because usually with the science, whatever you say, you back it up with the evidence. So not the hearsay that somebody's talking about something that she doesn't understand. So, and I will keep on mentioning that why we have to do vaccine or vaccination, and again repeating that it protects you from serious illness and complication, and that can include, like what you're saying, paralysis, hearing, or whatever. So vaccine is going to assist and prevent those diseases that can be measles or mumps or whooping cough that are usually a threat. So hence why vaccine, or why it is crucial, why infants should be vaccinated. So people always say things, it's a myth. And I can broadly and say it's the myth that somebody will say, no, I don't want to get vaccinated because I'll get this and this and this. Then we've got the thing that has been proven scientifically with evidence that if you didn't get a vaccine, chances are most of them, they either had polio. You have seen people who have suffered from polio. And then when they go and do testing here and here, they can see that either the baby was not being vaccinated. So I don't want to hear anything to say no vaccine or whatever, especially and particularly to the newborn, to the infants, to the children.
So it's important. So these people, what they're saying is not true.
But no. Vaccine is the way to go all the way, as long as the safety, efficacy of that vaccine has been done properly.
But Prof, you can agree with this though. There's no medication that has no side effects. I mean, even if when you take a headache, a paracetamol, just paracetamol for a normal headache, they'll write there may cause this or that, either nausea or dizziness. Even when you have take cough syrup, they'll be like, might cause drowsiness, might cause this. So then with the vaccine, aren't there also some might cause this?
What usually said, they always said, do not take it for more than 10 days without consulting the doctor, because it can cause side effects. Yes, I do agree that there's no medication that hasn't got any side effects, but it depends how you take that medication or how you take that vaccine. You cannot constantly injecting yourself for the whole day and thinking that you're not going to have any side effects. That is why it is very crucial that you consult with the doctors and you also followed whatever they've said. If they said to you, don't take it for more than a couple of years because, or more than a couple of days, or more than a couple of hours, it will cause side effects, they mean it. Hence is the way to go in terms of that. So I fully agree, but it's the way you are taking it.
Okay, so with that, that's basically why maybe they would say you can take a vaccine for measles and it should last you for the next 5 years or 6 years or whatever, and you
Yes,
only take
yes,
it because of the
yes.
potential side effects in that if you decided to, I don't know, get a measles shot every 3 months or something.
Remember, I want to share something with you. You remember when you take a vaccine, it's like it's going to build up your immune system. So immune system gets to work immediately to create antibodies, after the vaccine. And the so-called memory cells, which is going to help to fight the infection. So on average, an immune response will take around 7 to 21 days. Hence, sometimes it's very crucial that sometimes they test antibody. I'll give you an example for hepatitis B, for instance. If you are going to take a vaccine for hepatitis B so that they prevent you from not getting that, what usually happens, they will first draw your blood and test your antibody for hepatitis B. But if your antibody for hepatitis B, for instance, they are greater than 1,000, which is sometimes the reference range for that, there is absolutely no need to get that vaccine. Remember, because you have already got an antibody that has already been built up. But now, if they test you and they realize that your antibody is less than 1,000, perhaps 1,000 is the normal range, what they will do, they are now going to give you the vaccine. Now, a proper way to do it, what the doctor will do, after 3 months, because now they're trying to build up antibody from your body. So after 3 months, they will come and draw your blood, and from there they will test the antibody until they're happy that your antibody is greater than 1,000 or whatever the reference range might be.
Okay. Just another thing. In terms of vaccines, I just want to know the process of vaccine development. Can you just take us through the process so we can understand what exactly goes into a vaccine and into making of it?
Okay. Vaccine involves a couple of processes. There is the so-called exploratory stage where you explore because you want to do a vaccine, where either you will take an E. coli, which is a bacteria, and use that if you're going to use that. And then from there, another stage is the preclinical stage. This is now where you have already developed that, and then you want to test that exploratory stage. And then there's also a clinical development, and then the regulatory body, then the manufacturing and the quality control. Those are the stages. Now, what I can easily say is vaccine development, it actually involves the process of taking a new antigen or immunogen, identify in the research processes, and developing this substance into a final vaccine that can be evaluated through either preclinical or clinical studies, where we are going now to determine the safety and efficacy of that resultant vaccine. So in most of the time, vaccine that I have seen, most of them, they either been developed from bacteria, which is an E. coli, where they will culture it using all different types and then be able to test whether this bacteria can actually kill whatever bacteria that you're talking about or whatever virus that you're talking about. So whatever it happens, it's always going to start from in vitro, where we have to do the cell culture. Then from the cell culture, when you're happy, from that you go to the animal study. From the animal study, it goes to the preclinical stage. From the preclinical stage, now this is where we're going to go to clinical development. Now, you will see that there are certain bodies that is going to regulate that. In South Africa, we know usually called the MCC, or Medicine Control Council, or SAPRA, that is actually going to give us the approval whether you can continue with that vaccine or not. Hence, usually people always fight and say, no, I don't want to use this vaccine because I'm not sure whether they have done the safety and the efficacy of this vaccine. Hence, whenever you've got a vaccine, even now, you want to use it, the first thing that we want to see as scientists, we want to see the data, how this vaccine has been tested up to the level where you've got it from.
Okay. So would you ever use the actual, let's say, for example, now that they're developing this COVID-19 vaccine,
Yeah.
wouldn't they maybe use the actual virus in developing the vaccine?
For that one, Amanda, because we also want to do some work with the positive sample, which I'm not there yet, which I'm still talking to some of the collaborators. I've just seen on the news that we have already seen that there is a vaccine that they're going to start trial on how this vaccine has been developed. So that one I'm not sure of. I guess one will just have to be sure of after a week or so, because some people, they've already started with the trial. I mean, we can see that we have seen MRC, they've already started with the trial. You saw that. Some professors, they've already started with the trial for that. But that becomes difficult for me to see what they have used when they were doing that. But if I have to go and read the protocol, I'll be able to understand exactly how that COVID vaccine has been manufactured.
All right. We actually have a question here. The
Yes.
question is, currently, how many vaccines are presented to being researched here in South Africa? I'm assuming, but obviously you can correct me, Paul, but I'm assuming this is related to either the COVID-19 or in general. So you can answer it both ways. Yes. So currently, how many vaccines are
Okay.
presented to being researched here in South Africa?
That's a good question. Currently for Gauteng, I had two professors that have already done the presentation regarding the vaccine that they want to use for COVID. I want to mention to protect that. Yeah, I've got one researcher, he did the presentation. There were a couple of questions that the committee asked, and then she has to go back so that she can go and address those comments, number one. Secondly, yesterday on Tuesday, we also got another researchers that they also did their presentation regarding the COVID. And again, there were a couple of comments that the researchers will ask so that the person can go and approve. This morning, because we read, this morning, we already saw a flyer that's already said there were a couple of people there on that flyer. I can share it. We've got MRC, we've got Vets University, we've got a couple of people that are now saying they are now starting with the preclinical trial for vaccine for COVID. So far,
So we
that's what I'm
have
saying. Yes.
potential. It's two potential vaccines of
Yes,
COVID
that's
in
what I'm saying. Yes, that's what I said.
or in Gauteng.
I will talk about Gauteng. I want to talk about South Africa because that's where I'm involved of.
Okay. Okay. So
Yes.
there we go. In Gauteng, there's at least two vaccines
There is
currently in
actually
development.
one. As I'm talking to you right now, I should have actually sent you that flyer. There is one that has already been approved. There's a flyer going on with beautiful scientists' face on that flyer. One is that you will see their names, they are there on that flyer. That they said they happy everything is now happening with the COVID. I don't know, with the trial, I think it's now starting somewhere in Johannesburg, but one will be able to see how it goes.
Okay. In terms of vaccines, what do you feel is very important for us to know?
In terms of vaccine, number one, what I would say, it is crucial to know. Make sure, but you will be knowing that the safety and the efficacy of that vaccine has been tested, because no one will want to use something where safety and efficacy has not been tested. That's the crucial thing that one always fight, and that's why most of the people always fight that no, was the safety been done, and what is because of that is the most crucial one, to make sure safety is more important than anything else when it comes to vaccine. And I can also say, yes, it is okay in general. Skipping not vaccine while you're still a baby or an infant is not a good idea. This can leave either your child vulnerable to potentially serious diseases. So it is okay or to vaccinate. That's what I can just say.
Okay. We have another question. It's relating to the vaccines that are currently in development. It says in South Africa, do we have a joint task force of scientists to develop a vaccine, or each province is developing its own?
We cannot say each province develop its own. I was talking about the province of this one because of the people that I saw them. Actually, the Medical Research Council, because they are also one of the custodian of that COVID vaccine, that the one that they're going to, I can say is eventually is going to be a national rollout. But there is no way that each and every province can develop their own. I was talking about the province based on, I can feel comfortable to talk about what is happening in terms of the Gauteng province, what I have done, what I have seen, rather than saying nationally. So hence I was making it as an example based on that.
All right. Okay, we have a question here. It's not necessarily COVID related, but it's about an HIV vaccine. Do you know if we have HIV vaccine yet?
HIV vaccine.
Do we have one?
All what I can tell you, there was a clinical trial that happens for HIV vaccine. I don't know what happened after that, whether we have it or not. I'm also asking the very same question.
Okay, so
one of the things that I can say is there was a study for HIV vaccine, but I don't know whether are they now using it or not. But I can tell there was a study that was done for vaccine for HIV vaccine.
But we don't know what's the conclusion in terms of that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I can rather say, for me, I would feel comfortable and say yes. Rather say, let's pose this question. Rather say to me, was there a research done for HIV vaccine? Then I'll say yes. There was a research done for HIV, for vaccine, for HIV. You see, research, HIV done. Now, number two, now you can ask me a question and say, is there now a vaccine? Then I'm going to say, I'm not sure. If I can say yes, you must say to me, then you're going to say to me, where do we get it? In which hospital? In which whatever? In which pharmacy? I can say no. But if you want to ask me, yes, there was a study that was done, research, to do the HIV trials, but I don't know what happened.
Prof, let's just give it maybe just a minute more, just to see if there's any more questions from anybody.
No problem.
But I would like to read you some of the comments that we got. People are really happy with you. I like this particular comment. Well, there's a couple. Someone says, I love Prof. Her passion and work ethic is contagious.
Oh, I'm humble. I'm humble. Thank you so much.
Let me see what else. Somebody was saying that they definitely agree with you that because of a PhD, companies don't really hire scientists, so it's good that they create their own jobs. Somebody also said it's amazing that you are linking research to job creation, and thank you so much for the initiative. And in terms of vaccines, people agree with you. Prevention is far better than cure.
Yes.
And another comment here was, we are moving in the right direction. A vaccine approved is a step of better hope.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. So we have some very nice comments there. We have one more here. We have somebody says, I want to hear Prof say a few words of encouragement to Black females to venture into science. I think this is an important one. What can you say to encourage more Black females to go into the science thing?
Oh, thank you so much, Amanda, for that. I can take, this can be a topic on its own. Next time we must talk about that.
Yes, there we go. We've scheduled another appointment.
Yes, what I will say to them, when you do research or you're going to do science, have a passion. Number one, you must have a passion. If you really don't have a passion on what you are going to do, you're going to lose it. And I always tell the students that even if you don't have, just fake it or just go and get it at Edgar's. I wish they were selling. Have a passion, and then that you will always win. Secondly, what is also important, you must always make sure that you've got a dream. And this dream is not your mother, it's not your father, it's your dream. That's exactly what I also used to tell myself, that I had a dream that I'm not going to be the professor that retire, or if I have to retire, I must go and ask to work part-time. I've always have a dream that one day I will have a company that I'm going to turn my research into commercialization, having the company. And it has happened. Global Health Biotech Company. It is now happening. Those are the kind of things that I always tell them, that just make sure. But on the other hand, you must also understand that it's not easy. All these things, you have to have hard, you have to work hard. It's a determination that you need to have. Work hard and work hard and work hard. Other things, you must also make sure that you are going to hear people criticizing you. People always make you think, what do you think you are? And there's nothing wrong. It's okay to be criticized. It's good to be criticized. You know why? You're going to learn. Don't allow those people to pull you down. I mean, the Global Health Biotech is the space where I am as a Black female, is mainly white male dominant. It's not always easy. I remember my first product when I was sharing with some of the pharmaceutical company. They were thinking that, no, you cannot make this, because it was like, no, you can't, you just cannot. But because I believe myself, I had a passion, I continued to show them that this is my product from my research that I have used. And based on that, I was quite happy. Yes.
How important do you think science is in improving the economy of South Africa or of Africa? How do you think us, or as young people going into science, could help change the narrative for Africa?
That's a very good question. When you go and do science, go and do science at the back of your mind that you're going to make money out of it. And there's nothing wrong, and don't even be shy to say, of course I'm going to do science and I want to make money. Because most of the time, scientists are poor, you all know that. But I don't want to be a poor scientist. Some people will always say, you are a scientist, most of the scientists are poor. So, but that was a myth, and the way people are also looking at the scientists and saying, these people, they are poor. So when you go there, and knowing very well you want to go and do something, or you're going to do science, make sure that you're going to solve a problem, because it's always going to be like solving a problem. So when you solve a problem, always make sure that, how are you going to solve this problem in South Africa or in Africa? Are you solving a problem for Africa or for the whole continent? And then after you solving that problem, how currently are they solving that problem in Africa or in this continent? And when we talk about the value proposition, what is going to make yours completely different compared to how they solve it? And then if you can have that niche, that on your own, you fly.
It's that whole process of growing through failure and learning through failure. Because I think the biggest hurdle sometimes is the fact that people are so scared to fail, they're just not going to start. They're just like, no, it's fine. I don't even want to try it because I'm going to fail anyway. Or they're scared that they might fail. But you're saying that failure is important because you learn from it.
It's very important. And don't even so scared. And don't even shy away to talk about it. We have all failed in life. We have all made mistakes in life. But that was the way to learn. If you didn't do that, if you didn't go through that processes, it was going to be difficult for you to be able to learn. But it's crucial that we have to go. All this we have to fail. People need to criticize you. People need to label you. It's okay. People always, you achieve something, people will criticize. It's okay. But keep on moving.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful, Prof. I just have one more question here. Going back to vaccines, we digressed a little bit, but that's okay. So when a vaccine is developed, obviously they don't, I think this person just wants to understand that everybody is different. For example, I can eat fish and I'll be just fine, but my friend eats fish and then they react. So when you make a vaccine, you're not working with all these different peoples. You're just taking one vaccine and you're just like, one should fit everybody. So I think this question is more about this one fits all. Is it really a one fits all?
You see, when you make the vaccine for certain kind of disease, if they have had penicillin and they know that you are allergic to penicillin, they will ask you, because it can be a one fits all, but it cannot be a one fits all to people, because we do differ. Some people, you will see that they are allergic to penicillin and then they have to give them something else.
I have one last question. Obviously, this was the topic And the question was to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. And the answer is?
Yes. Go ahead. I don't want you to say, especially when you guys know that you're going to have babies, go and vaccinate. You have to vaccinate.
This chat was really great. I learned a lot about vaccines, and I'm pretty sure everybody watching also learned so much about vaccines. Also, remember that if you're a scientist or an innovator or anything and you'd like to come on to the chat and have us talk about whatever it is that you're interested in, DM us, DM STEAMInation, and we'll definitely have a chat with you. Prof, thank you so much for giving us your time. This was really amazing. And I'm looking forward to our next chat. We'll definitely, hopefully, have it within the next month or something. But I really, based on time, but if we can do it in the next couple of weeks, that would be amazing. Maybe the next 2 weeks or so. But I think it's an important conversation to have. We need to talk about entrepreneurship. That is what is going to change Africa. That is what we need. Africa needs to be what they want to be and not wait for other people to come and change things for them. We need to be changing it for ourselves. So thank you so much, Prof. I really enjoyed this chat. I learned so much about vaccines. I learned so much. I'm just grateful. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the viewers as well.